bottles and wasted time. I got nothing to show for all my wasted time, except the troubled, worried mind. I got nothing to show for wasted time.
I know I'm a Harley guy and all, but Honda with the center stand, excellent idea. It's been a while since I worked on one of these, but let's go over what I gotta do on this turd. What is up, YouTube? Back in the garage again, and we did some flip-flopping. Cleaned up a little bit. Look at all this space. Still jam-packed, full of crap. However, iron head frame is now sitting on the ground where it will go to die. Just kidding. But be wary of that if you are taking on a project like this. If you are at a point like I am, cylinder heads and trans and all of the parts are done. Got a big old pile of stuff to bring back in the house. Just did some sprucing up out here. But cylinder heads are done. Cylinders are bored. New pistons are ready to go. New rings are ready to go. Remiked and double checked the gaps on those. Frame is on the ground. I gotta weld up the mounts for the sissy bars down here, or sissy bar rather, but I got a spacer kit, trying to avoid having to make a million different spacers. Still deciding what I'm doing on the front end for this one. It's a 35 mil, so got a lot of options. I might run over to my buddy's shop and use his big lathe and shave these down and keep one brake stay for the mini drum that I have on this setup. Also have a pretty cool Hallcraft, I think, with an 18 high shoulder rear, XLCH 18 high shoulder rear, or I apologize, it's not a high shoulder looking at it now. With an 18-inch rear, 19 front is pretty adequate, especially if I keep the shocks. I'm still on the fence as to what I'm doing on this. I might re-weld and fix that Arlen Ness frame and make a little digger. I haven't built one yet, and it's kind of been on my list. If I can find a girder, I don't know, probably like 8 to 12 over girder, I might be doing a whole frame swap and put that up on the lift, and a ton of welding and fab and straightening and fixing all the tweaker welds that are on there, which is super common on those 70s choppers. But this one's really bad. It literally looks like somebody took a piece of conduit and welded it to the down tubes. I will try and get a video of that at some point. Anywho, look at that Honda. The dream machine. We got a CB350F. Justice, who you guys should be somewhat familiar with because that's his Evo chopper we were working on, and the maiden voyage of him riding the bike, not me. I think I was in there for a second, but tried driving that home today. We ran into a couple issues. We didn't put a fuel filter on, and he did sandblast the tank before he coated it, so I'm guessing it sucked up some sand into the carb. Started fine, ran fine, and then all of a sudden stopped running fine. I checked compression, checked spark, everything else is good. I'm 99.8% certain that it is a carb issue. Anywho, on the Honda, this is his other bike, his first motorcycle. He's had a couple of the 50cc pedal start mopeds, but first actual motorcycle. This is a, if I remember correctly, 1973 Honda CB350F. F meaning 4-cylinder. Super fun bike. I'm kind of jealous. I enjoy ripping this thing around every now and again. I've worked on a ton of CB360s back before I got into Harley stuff. This is all I did was old little cheap Jap crap that you could pick up for $200-300, and now, man, the last time I looked up one of these in good running condition, people are out of their minds what they want for these motorcycles. Anyways, here's where we're at. He bought this a year and a half ago and rode it indefinitely without anything. We threw a battery in it, did a quick carb tune on it, and he putzed it down the road. No front brake at first. Had to order a new master cylinder because the old one was shot. Got that hooked up. He was riding brakeless on the front for quite a while with just the drum rear, but unlike the Harley XLCHs, the rear drums on Hondas work really, really well, in my experience. I can mess around with these. I had a brakeless, well, no front brake iron head chopper forever, and no matter what, I could dial it in, have it be perfect. 2 good stops, and that was about all you would get on the drum setup. On these Hondas, man, they stop good. But had it, rode it around for a year and a half, no issues whatsoever, and then all of a sudden one day it didn't want to start. And I know he's got some battery issues. Battery took a crap on him, so he put a new one in, still doesn't start. So it's also been leaking. Don't look at that, that's from the iron head, that's not from this. But it's been leaking progressively worse and worse and worse. I think this side's the dirty one. There's a ton of oil all over the place here, from up top all the way down. We've brake cleaned this a couple times just to kind of monitor and see what it needed, but we're at that point where he picked this up relatively cheap and been riding it like crazy. We're going to keep it just like that, but we're going to reseal the whole thing. He did pull the plugs on this when he was having issues, and one plug was absolutely covered in oil and gas and gross. The other 3 looked good, so we definitely have 1 cylinder issue on this. We're going to yank the whole motor. Motor's going to come out. We're going to do a quick top end inspection, kind of verify everything else. I'm not overly concerned on the bottom end because the thing's been running and driving like a top up until it wasn't. My guess is he either washed a cylinder or we got some real bad valve problems on one of these. It's been a while since I worked on a Honda 4-cylinder, so it is here taking up space on the lift in the garage until that motor comes out, and then he takes the frame back, and I will just have the motor sitting on the bench because that's what I like doing. I like doing the motor stuff. I don't like working on the rest of them, but told him I'd give him a hand, get this all disassembled and ready, and then give the motor a full once-over. We'll go through, reseal everything. Unfortunately, with 4-cylinder Honda stuff, you're essentially dealing with a mini car motor, and all of my connections for machining and all of my connections for engine stuff that I am not capable of doing because I don't have the tools does not apply to this. So looking for a local machine shop in case I do need to punch out these cylinders, and we'll just go 10 over ideally. You never know until you dig in, so hopefully this doesn't piss anybody off if you came here for Harleys and Fords, because we do old Hondas too. Anything old and crappy that is still running or wants to get back on the road, I am all for. So not a purist. I love all the motorcycles, all different brands, all different types. This bike, if you're a Harley guy and you're like, oh, it's a shitty Honda, ride one of these, please. They are an absolute blast. It's tiny, it feels like a little scooter, and look at that stock red line. 10,000 RPMs. Try and do that with a factory Harley. Anywho, we'll update you guys as we progress on this, and that's why I brought it to the house. It's a little bit easier to film here. So if you're interested, stick around, hit that like, comment, or subscribe button, because there will be a lot of updates coming on this, at least until the motor's out. Then I might go back on pause, because I'm hoping by the time I get the motor out of this, I will have the cases back for that, and then we'll do a motor reassembly from the bottom end up on the Sportster. Then kick back to the Honda. This one will take me a while to get parts because I don't have accounts for any of the metric stuff. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow along with this next upcoming build. As far as I'm aware, we are not doing anything in terms of paint or cleanup on this. I think he wants to keep it OG because overall it's not in too bad a shape. A couple dings and dents in the tank, which is expected, but we definitely need to swap this out. They sent us 2 front tires, so got to fix that and put a bigger tire on the rear. A couple dings and dents, but it is original paint. Pretty good original condition as is. I think he might be doing some ceramic coating on the exhaust. Gold, maybe? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think below. Thanks for watching. Stick around for this build if that interests you at all. This will be a learning process. I am not as well versed on these as I was on the Harley stuff. Got into Harleys because they used the same design for 50, 60 years-ish, for the most part. Honda, on the other hand, decided to change things up every couple years, so we'll see. Motorcycle's motorcycle, motor's a motor. All the same. Thanks for watching.